What happens when you have nearly zero training in the last 4 months, yet you decide to start a 10-day cycling challenge? 121 days, that's how long it had been since I last rode my bike for 1 hour. By day 4, I thought it was game over, but stopping wasn't an option. And what happened next? I didn't see it coming. Hey, I'm Ben Morin, and if you're new here, I'm on a mission to turn a bold idea into reality, cycling 1500 kilometers from Paris to Edinburgh in 2 weeks, passing through London and Cardiff, all to raise funds for sick kids. And the 10-day challenge I'm about to talk in this video, it's not just training. It's a mental and physical test on my road to 1500 kilometers. I thought I knew what I was getting into, but I made a huge mistake. Let's just say I finally got the storm I had been expecting from the beginning, but in the worst way possible. Here's actually how it went. Before I even started, I made a deal with my mind. I told myself it's going to rain every single day. But you know what? I'll be ready to fight it every single time. That was the plan. I knew that if I expected 100% misery, well, anything less would, feel like a bonus. And you know what? It worked. Surprisingly, it barely rained at all, except for one ride, one day, where the sky seemed personally offended by my optimism. But you know what? Because I had mentally prepared for that kind of special treatment every single ride, like good old Edinburgh rain, riding on dry roads felt like cheating the system, and I also expected pain, a lot of it, but you know what? The rides without pain felt like a blessing, but more on that though later. Alright, day 1 hit harder than I expected, not for the reason that you can think of, because let's start with a rookie mistake. So this is right in the middle of day 1. I thought I would do the video at the end of this training, but I thought it would be nice to start with rule number 1. Bring a bottle of water. This is definitely something that would have been nice today. I'm actually 35 minutes in. I'm very lucky with the weather, but yeah, water is important when you train. Alright, back to it. 8 minutes in, I regretted everything. And I had 52 minutes left. By the time I finished, I was so parched. When your mouth is so dry that, it feels like your tongue is made of sandpaper. Well, that's the kind of feeling I was into at that moment. I learned that lesson the hard way. Hydration matters. The next 2 days, they were actually surprisingly smooth. Legs were holding up, I was feeling good, and I started thinking, maybe this won't be so bad after all. I might be built for this. Spoiler alert. I'm not. And I was not. On day 3, I even caught a beautiful sunset. One of those moments that make you forget the struggle and just make you enjoy the ride. But if I've learned anything in life, is that we better enjoy the calm while it lasts. Because the storm is never far behind. In other words, when things seem too easy, we'd better keep an eye out. Because you know what? Dog shit is never far ahead. On day 4, it was the turning point. I had been feeling some discomfort in my knee after the rides and the following mornings, but you know what? On day 4, it hit differently. I felt a sharp, persistent pain in the knee. Every instinct told me to stop. That was my signal to quit. And this is why I normally quit. I've done it before, but this time I refused. Stopping was not an option. And on day 5, something weird happened. The pain hit later. Instead of hitting after 14 minutes in like the day before, it showed up after 22 minutes. I expected it to kick in earlier, to be stronger, but it did the opposite. It weakened and it vanished, as if my body slowly adjusted to the challenge. Then by day 6, it was gone. Completely gone. No pain, no problem. I kept waiting for it to pop in. Minute after minute, kilometer after kilometer. I expected the familiar pain, but it never came back. That's when I realized that our bodies adapt faster than we think if we let them. Had I stopped on day 4, I would never have known that pushing through would have solved my problem. And the fun fact is that on that day, a Friday, I actually matched my all-time weekly record, which was a distance of 147 kilometers. Yes, baby. And you know what? With 2 days left, I knew I would actually shatter it. And that's what happened. On Sunday, day 8, I passed 200 kilometers. 207.5 kilometers. That's a 40% increase in volume, without rest days, just riding 1 hour a day. And suddenly, the 750 kilometers a week, which is the distance I'm supposed to do for the Paris to Edinburgh ride in September 2025, it didn't seem impossible anymore. After just 8 days of consistency, I started seeing things differently, even though I still need to cover more than 3.5 times what I just did. Now, do you remember how I mentally conditioned myself for the rain every day? Well, on day 9, Mother Nature finally accepted the challenge. And here's the thing, I wasn't prepared. You know, I had a waterproof jacket, but that was about it. I covered my head with one of those foot box covers, just here. But I had no mud guards, I had nothing for my legs, and I had no waterproof shoes. Or nothing to cover the shoes, which was a problem, I think, because within the first 10 minutes, I was soaked to the bone. And for the next hour, I pedaled with 2 swimming pools attached to my feet. And that's when I learned something important. You know, a waterproof mindset can help you embrace the rain, but it won't stop your feet from swimming. At first I was annoyed, then I started laughing. Because this is exactly what I had trained my mind for. I had prepared for this moment mentally before it even happened. I knew it wouldn't last long. But in the end, mental preparation only takes you so far. At some point, you also need the right gear. And I should have done a better job at avoiding this situation. But guess what? That's a lesson I will forget. And just like that, the ride ended with a perfect sunset. The reward I didn't see coming. Now we are getting to the end. On day 10, everything changed. You know, the ride was easy. I knew I would smash my record. I wasn't counting down the minutes, I was just enjoying the ride. Somewhere along the way, this stopped being a challenge and it actually became a routine. I could have gone another 10 days. I knew it would be easy because it was backed by 9 consecutive days of cycling. So what this challenge taught me? Expect the worst, celebrate the best. And preparing for the pain make all of the good rides even better. Also, pain isn't always a stop sign. It's just part of the process. Our bodies adapt faster than we think, but only if we let them. If I had stopped on day 4, I would never have learned that the pain I had in the knee was temporary. You're capable of way more than you think. The truth is, we don't find our limits until we push past them. Last but not least, waiting won't get us ready. We get ready by starting and showing up. These 10 days were not just a training, they were a reminder. You don't need perfect conditions, you don't need motivation. All you need is a starting point and a reason not to quit. So by the end of these 10 days, I wasn't just fitter, I was different. It was my mindset. I stopped thinking about my limits and I started trusting that showing up, even when it sucked, was enough. All I did was show up 1 hour at a time and it changed everything. Sure, it's not much compared to elite cyclists, but for someone who had never gone beyond 150 kilometers in a week before, that's massive. It didn't happen through perfect planning, just consistency and the decision not to quit when things got hard. So now, to be honest, I thought day 4 would break me. But if I've stopped, I would never have found out what was on the other side of pain. Do yourself a favor, don't stop because it gets tough. Nothing worth doing is ever easy. You never know what's on the other side of discomfort. It might be more than you thought you were capable of. So now I'm asking you, what challenge have you been avoiding? Drop it below, start it this week, and come back when you've crushed it.